A poor little girl clutches the doctor's shirt, her voice trembling as she pleads, "Please save my mommy. I promise I'll pay you when I grow up." In that moment, a young billionaire, James Carter, stops in his tracks, astonished to discover the identity of the mother. The bustling corridor of New York General Hospital suddenly feels endless, filled with quick footsteps, the creaking of wheelchairs, and tense voices. Then a sharp cry pierces through the air, silencing conversations for an instant. It's the cry of a desperate child, a sound that can break through even the hardest hearts. "Please save my mommy. I promise I'll pay you when I grow up," comes the thin, trembling voice of Lily, a 4-year-old girl with brown hair and green eyes. She can barely reach the doctor's waist, but her grip on his white coat is fierce, her knuckles turning white from the effort. Dr. Thomas looks down at her, trying to maintain his composure despite the emotional weight of her words. It's been a long shift, his 10th in a row. Yet this little girl has managed to penetrate his professional defenses. "We'll do everything we can, sweetheart. Now I need you to be brave, okay?" he says gently, freeing her hands from his coat. A nurse, Jenny, approaches to stay with her, but Lily pulls back, her puffy red eyes fixed on the stretcher where they took her mother. On the other side of the corridor, James looks at his watch. He has a meeting with the company board in just a few minutes, and the cut on his arm from a careless kitchen accident is taking longer than expected to treat. At 35 years old, he's dressed in a pristine suit, though a blood stain on the sleeve and his buzzing phone filled with urgent emails remind him of the chaos of the day. But then he hears that cry again. It's the child's desperation that makes him turn his head. Perhaps it's the familiar tone of her voice, or simply the purity of a child's distress that compels him to pay attention. He finds himself frozen, watching the girl curled in a corner, whispering softly to her teddy bear. "It's none of your business," she murmurs, trying to reassure her toy. James shakes his head, attempting to refocus on the email he was typing. His assistant had already rescheduled the meeting for 10. Just a few more minutes, and he could leave, but the girl's whispers continue to reach him. "Mr. Bear, Mommy's gonna be okay, right? She's just sleeping, like when she takes those medicines that make her sad." James swallows hard and puts his phone away, feeling an invisible force pulling him toward her. "Hello," he says, trying to sound as non-threatening as possible. "Your bear has a cool name." Lily raises her tear-streaked face, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand, leaving streaks of dirt on her freckled cheeks. "Mr. Bear doesn't like strangers," she replies seriously. "Oh, I'm sorry then," James says, offering a slight smile. "I just wanted to check if you two need anything. Water, maybe? Or hot chocolate?" The mention of chocolate lights up her eyes for a brief moment, but they quickly dim again. "Mommy says I can't accept things from strangers," she replies, her voice small but firm. "Your mom is right," he nods, sitting at a respectful distance. "My name's James. What's yours?" "Lily," she answers after a pause, still cautious. "Lily Morgan," he repeats, recognizing the name from 5 years ago. It tightens his chest. Coincidence, he thinks. It has to be. "It's a very pretty name, Lily. Where's your dad?" The question slips out automatically, and James realizes too late that it might be sensitive. "I don't have one," she responds flatly, as if stating a fact. "It's just me and Mommy." Before James can say anything else, a commotion draws their attention. Doctors rush into the emergency area, shouting instructions, and the double doors swing open briefly. James catches a glimpse of the woman on the stretcher. The world stops. It's as if the air has been sucked from his lungs. Her profile, pale and bruised, is unmistakable. Rebecca. The name escapes his lips like a sigh. Lily looks at him, startled. "You know my mommy?" James' heart pounds against his ribs. He looks back at her, really looks, and it's like staring into a distorted mirror through time. The same green eyes he sees in his own reflection each morning. The same determined chin. 4 years old, exactly how long it has been since Rebecca Morgan vanished from his life without a trace. "I believe I do," he answers, his voice shaky as he tries to control the tremor in his hands. "We were friends a long time ago." Lily seems to consider this information, hugging Mr. Bear tighter. She never talked about you, she says simply. The words hit James like a punch to the gut, but he tries not to show it. Of course, Rebecca wouldn't talk about him. She had disappeared for a reason that now seems to stand before him in the form of a 4-year-old girl with brown hair and freckles on her nose. What happened to her? James asks, trying to keep his voice calm. Lily sniffles, tears filling her eyes again. The car crashed. It was raining a lot, and Mommy was sad again. She drove fast, and then the car spun and hit a tree. Each word comes out between sobs. I had my seatbelt on like she always tells me, but Mommy hit her head, and there was so much blood. James feels a lump in his throat, imagining Rebecca hurt and bleeding, with this child, his child, watching it all unfold. Did you get her? He asks, noticing a small bandage on her arm. Just a scratch, Lily replies, trying to sound brave. The ambulance man said I was really strong, but Mommy wouldn't wake up. Without thinking, James moves closer and sits beside her. Your mom is strong too, Lily. The doctors are taking care of her now. But what if they can't fix her? Her green eyes, so identical to his own, are filled with fear. I don't have money to pay. I broke my piggy bank last week to buy ice cream. James feels his heart tighten. The innocence of such an adult worry coming from a child so small is devastating. Don't worry about that. The doctors won't stop helping your mom because of money. But Mommy always says everything costs money. When I get sick, she cries in secret because pills are expensive. That information lands like lead in James's stomach. Rebecca, whom he had known as a young woman full of dreams and ambitions, reduced to secretly crying because she couldn't afford medication. The Rebecca he knew was too proud to ask for help, even when she needed it. Apparently, that hadn't changed. As he tries to process all this, a nurse approaches them. Are you related to the girl? She asks, looking at James suspiciously. The words get stuck. What is he exactly? A stranger? A friend from the past? A father who didn't even know he existed in that role until 15 minutes ago? He knows my mommy, Lily answers for him. They were friends. The nurse still doesn't seem entirely convinced. Social services are coming to stay with the girl while her mother is in surgery. If you're not a relative, you'll have to... Wait, James interrupts. How is Rebecca's condition? The woman frowns, clearly not liking his tone. I can't disclose medical information to non-family members, sir. Of course, James nods, reining in his frustration. May I speak with the attending physician? Dr. Thomas is in the operating room now. As soon as we have news, someone will update the family. The word family echoes in James's mind with new weight. He looks at Lily, clutching her teddy bear as if it were a shield against the world. I don't want to go with strangers, the girl mumbles. I want to wait for my mommy here. James makes a decision he doesn't fully understand, but knows he can't leave this girl alone, not when there's a chance she is his daughter. Hey, Lily, he says, kneeling to her level. How about I stay here with you? We can wait for your mom together. What do you think? Her green eyes study him, as if calculating whether she can trust him. Mr. Bear is hungry, she finally says. I'm hungry too, James smiles, relieved by the small opening. Then let's fix that. There's a cafeteria in the hospital. We can get something for you and Mr. Bear. What do you two like to eat? Waffles, she answers promptly, with chocolate sauce. Mr. Bear likes strawberries. Waffles with chocolate and strawberries it is then. As they walk to the cafeteria, Lily hesitantly takes James's hand. Her small, warm grip triggers a wave of protectiveness he's never felt before. It's a strange, powerful feeling, both unfamiliar and somehow familiar, as if part of him had always been waiting for this moment without knowing it. In the cafeteria, James watches Lily devour the waffles as if she hasn't eaten in days. Between bites, she talks about her school, her favorite cartoons, and how her mom always tells her bedtime stories. Each new detail is a piece of the puzzle of Rebecca's last 5 years and possibly the life of a daughter he never knew he had. Mommy says I'm too smart for my age, Lily comments, wiping chocolate sauce from the corner of her mouth. But sometimes she gets sad when I ask questions. What kind of questions? James asks, trying to sound casual. Lily shrugs, suddenly more interested in cutting a piece of waffle into shapes. Questions about my dad. About why we don't have a big house like the other kids. About why she cries at night when she thinks I'm sleeping. James feels a knot form in his throat. What had happened to Rebecca? Why had she disappeared? And why in heaven's name had she never told him about Lily? His thoughts are interrupted when a different doctor approaches the table. Mr. Carter, she calls. Dr. Thomas asked me to update you on Rebecca Morgan's condition. James straightens in his chair, feeling Lily grip his hand tightly. Is Mommy okay? The girl asks, her voice trembling. The doctor looks from James to Lily, choosing her words carefully. Your mom is just out of surgery. She had some internal injuries and a concussion, but we managed to stabilize her. She'll need a few days in the ICU for observation. Can I see her, please? Please? Lily begs, already sliding off her chair. Not yet, sweetheart. She's sleeping and needs a lot of rest, the doctor says gently. But as soon as she can have visitors, you'll be the first, okay? Lily seems to accept this answer, though her lower lip trembles dangerously. Are you a relative? The doctor asks James quietly. James hesitates again. Under normal circumstances, he'd say no. But these were not normal circumstances, and there was a scared little girl counting on him. Yes, he finally replies, surprising even himself. I'm Lily's father. The words leave his mouth before he can think them through, but strangely they don't feel like a lie. They feel more like a possibility he is finally allowing himself to consider. The doctor nods without question. We need someone to fill out the insurance forms and authorize procedures. Could you come with me? Sure, James turns to Lily. I just need to talk to the doctor for a minute, okay? I promise I'll be right back. The girl nods, though her eyes reveal a fear of being alone. Mr. Bear will watch over me, she says, trying to sound brave. As he follows the doctor down the hallway, James feels like he is crossing a line of no return. The more involved he becomes, the harder it will be to step back. But the truth is, he doesn't want to step back. He wants answers. He wants to understand why Rebecca had run away, and above all, he wants to know if Lily is truly his daughter. One thing he knows for sure. His life has just changed forever, all because of a desperate child's cry in a hospital corridor. As James sits in the waiting room, he finds himself lost in thought, still processing everything that has happened. The realization that he might have a daughter weighs heavily on him. He can't shake off the image of Lily's tear-streaked face, her innocent pleas echoing in his mind. The emotional burden of not being there for her all these years fills him with guilt. James glances at Lily, who is now playing with Mr. Bear, her small hands clutching the worn toy tightly. He feels a surge of protectiveness for her, recognizing that he wants to be the father she deserves. Yet he knows he must tread carefully. Their relationship is still new and fragile. He wants to reach out to her, to comfort her, but he's unsure how to bridge the gap between them. Meanwhile, Lily's eyes light up as she spots a nurse passing by. Can I see my mommy now? She asks, her voice filled with hope. The nurse gently shakes her head, explaining that Rebecca is still resting after surgery. James can see the disappointment wash over Lily's face, and it hurts him to witness her distress. Don't worry, Lily, James says, kneeling beside her. The doctors are doing everything they can for your mom. She's strong, just like you. Lily nods, but the worry in her eyes remains. What if she doesn't wake up? She murmurs, her voice barely a whisper. James feels his heart ache at her question. She will wake up, I promise, he insists, trying to sound confident. And when she does, we'll be right here waiting for her. In that moment, James realizes how much he wants to be a part of Lily's life, how he wants to support her and be there for both her and Rebecca. He can't help but wonder about the years he missed and the bond he could have shared with his daughter. As they wait, James decides to engage Lily in conversation, hoping to distract her from her worries. What do you like to do, Lily? He asks, genuinely interested. I like drawing and telling stories, she replies, her eyes brightening. Mommy says I'm really good at it. James smiles, feeling a warmth in his chest. I'd love to see your drawings. Maybe we can make a story together. Lily's face lights up at the suggestion. Really? You want to help me? Of course. We can make a big book filled with our adventures. He encourages her, feeling a connection building between them. Just then, the doctor walks in and the atmosphere shifts. Mr. Carter, she calls. I have an update on Rebecca. James straightens, his heart racing. She is stable, but she will need some time to recover in the ICU, the doctor explains. You can visit her briefly, but we need to keep the visit short for her recovery. Can Lily come with me? James asks, glancing at the little girl, who is now biting her lip in anticipation. The doctor hesitates, then nods. Yes, but keep it brief and make sure she doesn't touch any of the medical equipment. James feels a surge of relief as he takes Lily's hand. Let's go see your mommy, he says, squeezing her small hand gently. As they walk down the hallway toward the ICU, James notices how Lily's grip tightens. I'm scared, she admits softly. I know, he replies, kneeling to her level. But we're going to be brave together, okay? Your mommy is going to be okay, and we'll be there for her. Lily nods, her determination shining through despite her fear. When they reach Rebecca's room, the sight of her lying there, connected to machines, makes James's heart ache. He steps inside and Lily follows closely behind, her eyes wide with concern. Mommy? Lily calls softly, her voice trembling as she approaches the bed. James watches as Rebecca lies unconscious, her face pale but peaceful. She looks so tired, Lily whispers, her small hand reaching out to touch her mother's. James feels a lump in his throat as he sees the love and scare. She is tired, sweetheart, he says gently, but she's getting the help she needs. In that moment, he knows he must be there for both of them. He has to be the father Lily needs while supporting Rebecca through her recovery. As he stands beside Lily, he realizes that this is just the beginning of a new chapter for their little family, and he is determined not to let them down. As the days pass in the hospital, James becomes a regular presence by Rebecca's side, while also devoting himself to Lily. He feels a deepening bond with both of them, yet the emotional weight of their situation continues to press on him. Each visit to Rebecca's room reminds him of the fragility of life and the complexities of their shared past. James watches as Lily talks to her mother, her voice a mix of excitement and anxiety. Mommy, I drew a picture for you today. It's a big rainbow with all the colors, she says, holding up a crumpled piece of paper. I hope you like it. Rebecca, still weak and recovering, opens her eyes slowly. Beautiful, sweetheart, she whispers, a small smile appearing on her face. You're so talented. James feels a warmth in his chest as he observes their interaction. He knows how much Lily needs her mother, and he admires the way she brings light into Rebecca's dim hospital room. However, he also feels the weight of unasked questions lingering in the air, questions about the past that need to be addressed. After a few moments, James gently interrupts. Lily, why don't you go to the playroom for a bit? I'd like to speak with your mom alone. Lily looks between them, sensing the shift. Okay, but I'll be back soon, Mommy, she promises, giving Rebecca a quick kiss before running out of the room. Once they are alone, James takes a deep breath, steeling himself for the conversation ahead. Rebecca, he starts, his voice steady but filled with emotion. We need to talk about what happened, about why you left. Rebecca's expression shifts, a mix of fear and sadness crossing her features. James, she begins, but he raises a hand to stop her. I know it's complicated, he says, trying to keep his voice calm, but we can't move forward without understanding each other. I just found out I have a daughter, and I need to know why you didn't tell me. Tears well up in Rebecca's eyes as she looks down at her hands. I didn't want to hurt you. I thought I was protecting you. Protecting me? James replies, feeling frustrated. By disappearing? By keeping Lily from me? I can't understand that. It wasn't easy for me, Rebecca insists, her voice rising slightly. You have to believe me. I didn't know how to come back after everything that happened. Then tell me, he urges, his heart racing. Tell me what happened. I deserve to know. Rebecca takes a deep breath, her gaze finally meeting his. It was my father. He didn't approve of us, James. He made it clear that I was making a mistake by being with you. James feels the anger rising within him. What did he do? He offered me money to vanish from your life, she reveals, her voice trembling. He said I was holding you back from your future. James shakes his head, disbelief flooding his mind. That's absurd. I would never have agreed to that. I know, she replies softly, but at the time, I believed him. I thought you would be better off without. James runs a hand through his hair, trying to process her words. And then you just left? You never thought to reach out to me? To let me know you were pregnant? I wanted to, Rebecca admits, tears streaming down her cheeks. But I was scared. Scared of what he might do. Scared of what you might think. The weight of her confession hangs heavy in the air. James takes a moment to gather his thoughts before speaking again. Rebecca, I still care about you. I still want to be there for you and for Lily. But we need to face this together. Rebecca nods slowly, her eyes filled with remorse. I want that too, James. I want to be a family. Just then, Lily burst back into the room, her face beaming with excitement. I made another drawing. Can I show it to you, Mommy? James watches as Lily approaches Rebecca, her innocence shining through. He realizes that despite the pain of the past, there is hope for the future. They can rebuild their family, but it will take time, understanding, and a willingness to confront the memories that still linger. As Lily shows her mother the drawing, James feels a renewed sense of purpose. He knows that their journey is just beginning, and that together they can create a new path forward. The atmosphere in Rebecca's hospital room shifts as James and Lily settle into a routine of daily visits. Each day, James watches as Rebecca grows stronger, inching closer to recovery, and he can't help but feel a sense of hope mingled with anxiety. The bond between him and Lily deepens, and he finds himself increasingly drawn to the little girl who has unexpectedly become such an important part of his life. One afternoon, as they sit together in the room, Lily takes a seat on the edge of her mother's bed, her small fingers clutching the drawing she made. Look, Mommy, it's us, she exclaims, her eyes sparkling with excitement. The picture shows a family together, smiling under a bright sun, 3 figures holding hands, with Mr. Bear and Miss Whiskers nearby. That's beautiful, sweetheart, Rebecca says, her voice still weak but filled with warmth. She reaches out to touch the drawing, her fingers trembling slightly. James watches the exchange with a smile, his heart swelling at the sight of them together. He feels a mixture of gratitude and sadness, knowing that they are just beginning to mend what was broken years ago. Mommy, can we go to the park when you get better? Lily asks, her voice hopeful. I want to show you the swings. Rebecca nods, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Of course, honey. We'll go to the park together. I can't wait to see you swing so high. James feels a lump in his throat as he watches the bond between mother and daughter. He knows how much they both need each other, and he wants to be there for them. And I'll take you both for ice cream afterward, he adds, trying to lighten the mood. Yay! Lily cheers, clapping her hands. I love ice cream. As they share this moment, James's mind drifts to the conversation he had with Rebecca earlier. They had touched on the past, but he knows there is still so much left unsaid. They need to confront their history if they are to move forward as a family. Later that day, after Lily is settled in the playroom, James takes a deep breath, determined to bring up the topic again. Rebecca, he begins, sitting on the edge of her bed. We need to talk more about everything. About us. About Lily. Rebecca looks at him, a mixture of apprehension and understanding in her eyes. I know we do. It's just, everything feels so overwhelming right now. I get that, he replies gently, but we can't avoid it forever. I want to understand why you left and how we can make things right. Rebecca nods, a tear slipping down her cheek. I want that too, James. I want to explain everything, but I'm scared. Scared of how you'll react. Scared of what it all means. James reaches out, taking her hand in his. I'm not going anywhere. We're in this together, no matter what. We can face it all if we're honest with each other. She squeezes his hand, her expression softened. You're right. I need to tell you everything, especially for Lily's sake. Just then, the door opens, and a nurse steps in with an update on Rebecca's recovery. We're going to start reducing your sedation soon, Rebecca. You may start feeling more alert and able to participate in your therapy sessions, the nurse says, smiling. Rebecca's face lights up with a mix of relief and determination. That sounds great. I want to get better so I can go home with my daughter. James feels a surge of admiration for her strength. You will, and I'll be right here, supporting you both every step of the way. As the nurse leaves, James turns back to Rebecca. Let's promise each other that we'll face the past together. For Lily. Rebecca nods, a newfound resolve in her eyes. For Lily, she echoes, and in that moment, they both understand that their journey toward healing is just beginning, but they will face it united as a family, ready to embrace whatever comes next. As the weeks go by, the bond between James, Rebecca, and Lily continues to grow. They navigate the challenges of recovery and adaptation, slowly building a new life together. James finds himself immersed in the role of a father, learning the ins and outs of parenting as he supports both Rebecca's healing and Lily's development. One evening after dinner, James settles down with Lily on the living room floor, surrounded by her colorful drawings. What do you want to do tonight? He asks, smiling at her enthusiasm as she shows him her latest creations. Can we tell a story? Lily replies, her eyes wide with excitement. You can be the prince, and I'll be the princess. James chuckles, feeling a warmth spread through him. I'd love that. What adventure are we going on today? Lily thinks for a moment, then beams. We're going to find a treasure hidden in a magical forest. As they weave their tale together, James is struck by how natural it feels to be a part of Lily's life. He realizes that he's not just playing a role. He's becoming a father in every sense of the word. Meanwhile, Rebecca watches from the doorway, her heart swelling with emotion. Seeing James with Lily engaging in her world fills her with hope. She knows that they are creating a new family dynamic, one filled with laughter, love, and shared experiences. However, the shadows of the past still linger. One night, after tucking Lily into bed, James and Rebecca find themselves sitting on the balcony, the city lights glimmering below them. James, Rebecca begins hesitantly, can we talk more about what we discussed before? About us and Lily? James turns to her, his expression serious. Of course. I think it's important that we define what our relationship looks like moving forward. Rebecca takes a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. I want to be honest about my feelings. I've been scared of letting you in completely after everything that happened. I understand, he replies gently. We both have fears, but I want to be a part of your lives. I want to be there for both you and Lily. Rebecca nods, her heart racing. I've seen how you are with her, and it makes me realize how much I need you both. I want to trust again, but it's hard. James reaches for her hand, his grip reassuring. We'll take it one step at a time. I'm not going anywhere, and I want you to know that I'm committed to this family. Their conversation is interrupted by a soft voice calling from the bedroom. Mommy? Daddy? James and Rebecca exchange glances, both smiling at the sound of Lily's voice. We'll continue this later, James says, standing up. Let's go see what she needs. As they enter the room, they find Lily sitting up in bed, her teddy bear clutched tightly. I had a scary dream, she admits, her voice small. James kneels beside her, brushing her hair back gently. It's okay, sweetheart. You're safe, and we're right here. Rebecca sits on the edge of the bed, wrapping her arm around Lily. Do you want to talk about it, honey? Lily shakes her head, snuggling closer to her mother. Can we tell a story instead? James and Rebecca share a smile, realizing that storytelling has become a soothing ritual for their little family. Absolutely, James replies. What story should we tell tonight? As they begin to weave a tale together, James feels a sense of peace wash over him. In this moment, surrounded by the warmth of their love, he understands that they are building a new life together, one filled with hope, understanding, and the promise of a brighter future. They may have faced darkness in the past, but now they are united in their commitment to each other and to the family they are creating. The morning sun streams through the windows of their new apartment, casting a warm glow on the walls filled with Lily's colorful drawings. James watches as Lily busily works on yet another masterpiece at her small art table, her concentration evident as she carefully colors in her latest creation. The atmosphere is lively, filled with the sounds of laughter and joy, a stark contrast to the uncertainty that once clouded their lives. Rebecca enters the room, freshly awake and smiling. "Good morning, artists," she calls out, her voice bright and cheerful. "Mommy, look at my drawing," Lily exclaims, holding up her work with pride. "That's amazing, sweetie. I love how you use so many colors," Rebecca praises, her heart swelling with love for her daughter. As they share this moment, James feels a deep sense of fulfillment. He's been waking up every day with the knowledge that he's part of their lives now, fully dedicated to being the father Lily deserves and supporting Rebecca in her recovery. After breakfast, James decides it's time for a family outing. "How about we go to the park today?" he suggests, looking at both Lily and Rebecca. "Can we bring a picnic?" Lily asks eagerly, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Absolutely. I'll pack us some sandwiches and snacks," James replies, already envisioning the day ahead. As they prepare for the outing, James can't help but feel a sense of normalcy returning to their lives. He realizes how much he's missed moments like these, where laughter and love replace the shadows of the past. At the park, the sun shines brightly as they spread out a blanket under a large tree. James watches as Lily races off to the swings, her laughter ringing out like music. He exchanges a glance with Rebecca, and they both smile, sharing a moment of unspoken gratitude for how far they've come. "Thank you for doing this," Rebecca says softly, her gaze fixed on Lily. "I didn't know if we could ever have moments like this again." James nods, feeling the weight of her words. "It's what we've always wanted, isn't it? A happy family. We just had to find our way back to each other." As they enjoy their picnic, the conversation flows easily. They talk about Lily's favorite games, her friends at school, and their plans for the future. Each laugh shared strengthens their bond, and James feels a sense of hope blossoming within him. Later, as they walk through the park, hand in hand, James feels a shift within himself. He's no longer just a man caught in his past. He's a father, a partner, and an integral part of this family. "Mommy, can we go to the zoo next time?" Lily asks, looking up at Rebecca with expectant eyes. Rebecca glances at James, who nods enthusiastically. "Absolutely. We can plan a trip to the zoo, and I'll even take the day off work to join you both." Lily jumps up and down with excitement, her joy infectious. Yay! We can see the penguins and the lions." As they continue their walk, James feels a sense of peace settle over him. The challenges they face seem distant now, overshadowed by the love and connection they are nurturing. Later that evening, after tucking Lily into bed, James and Rebecca sit together on the balcony, the stars twinkling above them. "Can you believe how far we—" Rebecca asks, a hint of disbelief in her voice. James smiles, taking her hand in his. "It feels incredible. I know we still have a long way to go, but I believe in us. We're building something beautiful together." Rebecca nods, her eyes shining with hope. "I never thought I could feel this way again. Thank you for being patient with me, for understanding." "I'll always be here, Rebecca," he replies, his voice steady. "We're in this together, and I'm committed to making this work, no matter what." As they sit together, leaning into each other, they know that while the road ahead may have its challenges, they will face them united. Together, they are ready to embrace the future, one day at a time, as a family.